Welcome back students. Let's start from where we have left. So our next separation method is chromatography. This technique is used when all the components of a mixture are soluble in a solvent. For example, the coloring substances called pigments of a flour or an ink can be separated by this method. We will see how. Chromatography is based on the principle of adsorption. In adsorption, a substance, solid, liquid or gas, called an adsorbent. For reference, please see the right side image over here. This is an adsorbent and this is adsorbent. So, what is happening in adsorption? In adsorption, a substance called an adsorbent means this one forms a layer on the surface of another substance, usually a solid, called an adsorbent. This one. Generally, aluminium oxide, silica, silicon dioxide or cellulose in the form of powder or paper is used as an adsorbent. So these are the example of adsorbent which is shown over here. The technique using paper, Whatman number 1 filter paper or a special quality paper called chromatographic paper. So for reference I have attached this image. This is the filter paper which is used for chromatography. Only this is used because it shows the proper difference, the proper separation of the colors. So this is called paper chromatography. You have seen that a liquid spreads over a blotting paper or a filter paper as it gets absorbed by the paper. So what is happening is we are having a liquid and it is getting absorbed on the this filter paper. So this is how chromatography is working. In chromatography, the process is adsorption. There is an adsorbate and there is an adsorbent. We will see more about it in the next slide. The principle of separation by this technique is easy to understand. When you place a solution of a mixture over an adsorbent, the different component of the mixture get adsorbed to different extents. So they move with different speeds on the surface of the adsorbent. Thus the components get separated. What is it saying? So what is happening in this process is, firstly you take like leaves, you have taken leaves of a particular plant, right? So maybe the leaves is of 2-3 colors. You take that leaf and you put a solution in it and you mash it properly. So a kind of a little bit solid liquid kind of thing is there. You take that drop and you put on this chromatographic paper. This dot that is shown over here now, it is the same dot which you have taken from that plant or pigments of that plant. All right, so this is having different colors in it. These will be absorbed on this paper in different amounts, right? This, the solution over here is made up of 2-3 solutions which you will get to know in higher classes. So what is happening is, here the dot which is placed over here, it is the pigment of a flower or a plant leaf whichever you are taking, and the colors which it is having, right, they are absorbed in different proportion. This liquid turns up and up because in the acetone or like this something is added. We will see it. Remember that it is the solvent that drives the solute on the adsorbent. Example, the chromatographic paper. It means that this, the solvent, this is which drives the solute on the adsorbent. It means it takes the solute on this filter paper. So the solvent has to be properly selected. It means the choice of this liquid has to be properly made. Otherwise, the maybe that pigments don't show the proper colors on the chromatographic paper. It may happen. It is generally a mixture of liquids, example water, alcohol, water, acetone, alcohol, acetone or water, alcohol, acetone. Mixture chosen by trial and error. You can try it and you can see which shows the perfect result. The adsorbent is called the stationary phase and the solution the mobile phase. The band of colors obtained on the paper is called a chromatogram. Chroma means color. Alright. Students, this much is enough for you right now. More details about it you will learn in higher classes. Here an activity is given to you. By performing the following activity, you can separate the coloring agents of the ink of a sketch pen or a marker. What you have to do is Cut a long rectangular piece of filter paper or paper napkin. Keep the tip of your pen for a while at a point about a centimeter from one end of the paper. From below, it should be 1 centimeter above, whichever point you are taking. Okay. Let the ink dry. Now hang the paper with the help of a clip as they have shown you in a glass containing a small amount of water, little bit. The end of the paper should just touch the water. Leave the setup undisturbed for some time. Within a few minutes, you will observe that different colors have separated out on the filter paper. From certain inks, you may get an unexpected color. See what you can get from the ink of a green sketch pen, for instance. Okay, try doing it. The two colored substances, blue and yellow, making up the green, get separated. We know that green is made up with a combination of blue and yellow. So you will see two different layers of these colors. In figure 3.11, they have shown you first the setup used in the activity, and second, the color of the ink from a green sketch pen separates into blue and yellow. You can try doing this activity in your homes. So a summary of the separation methods: solid, liquid and solid liquid mixtures are the ones most commonly found. You can separate the components of such mixtures by using the methods mentioned in table 3.2. We have gone through these methods, right? So please go through this table, and if you find any kind of problem in this, you can reach up to me. Difference between a mixture and a compound. A mixture is an impure substance containing elements and or compounds that do not chemically react with each other. But a compound is a pure substance made up of elements which have chemically combined among themselves, which we have seen in the starting of this chapter. We had seen mixture and a compound. Here activity is given to you. Intimately mix some iron fillings with sulfur powder. You will be able to see the gray iron particles and the yellow sulfur particles. You can separate iron from sulfur by moving a magnet through the mixture. We have seen the process of magnetization, right? Take a small amount of the mixture in a test tube. Add some carbon disulfide and shake. These activity you can perform in a lab because you may not be having these things in your home, right? So we will try doing it whenever the school reopens. Sulfur will dissolve, leaving grey particles of iron behind. Repeat the experiment, different amounts of iron and sulfur. You will make the same observation every time. Now intimately mix 7 gram of iron fillings with 4 gram of sulfur. Heat the mixture in a test tube made of hard glass. The mixture will begin to glow. Cool the test tube after the mixture stops glowing. You will obtain a black material, crush it and move a magnet through it. No particles cling to the magnet now. Treat the material with carbon disulfide, nothing dissolves. So where have the iron and sulfur gone, which we had seen in the first one, right? They have in fact chemically combined to form a compound called iron sulfide. Iron sulfide does not show the properties of either iron or sulfur. That we have seen that maybe the compound which is formed, it may not show the properties which elements had combined to form it, right? Thus a mixture differs from a compound as shown in table 3.3. Please go through this table. This is very important. You will learn in later chapters that air is a mixture but water is a compound. Mixture and compounds, here the difference is given. Mixture, it is an impure substance, compound is a pure substance. Mixture does not have a fixed melting or boiling point, compound has a fixed melting and boiling point. And same is the case with other differences. We have gone through it properly in this chapter. This is a table concisely given to you. You just go through it and revise it. Thank you dear students. See you next time.